Start over.
It'll be on.
Go out of order, and we are going to do the transfer of ownership first. We have a court reporter here, and we have Karen Taddeo representing St. Lawrence Health Systems here, so we can proceed with this. So let me give you the timeline. We received a redacted copy of the transfer of ownership with a check on 3/13. And it was then forwarded to me on that same day. I sent it out to the committee, which is Robert McKenzie from Lewis County and Kenneth Gardner from St. Lawrence County. On 3/18, it was retracted by Karen Taddeo. On 3/24, we received the revised transfer of ownership, redacted. The F&Cs were sent directly to the state. I received it again on the 21st. It was then sent to the committee again. On 3/31, we deemed the application complete and notification sent to Bureau of EMS and to St. Lawrence Health, notifying them we deemed complete, copying Karen Taddeo as their legal counsel. On 4/6, the F&Cs were completed by New York State Bureau of Emergency Medical Services and approved. And so here is the motion. The CO committee brings forth the following motion. The North Country REMSCO CON committee brings forth a motion to approve the transfer of operating authority of Governor Volunteer Rescue Squad to St. Lawrence Health Systems Incorporated. So are there any conflicts of interest of anybody that does not feel that they can vote on this? Are there any questions from the council? At this time, we're going to do a roll call vote. Jonathan?
James Barr. Yes. Paul Barter.
Yes.
Mark Devers.
Yes.
Larry Gerard.
Yes.
Jeff Johnson.
Yes.
Robert McKenzie.
Yes.
James McGrath.
Yes.
Neil Reidenberg.
Yes.
Bobby Simpson.
Yes.
Debbie Singleton.
Yes.
Ron Smith.
Yes.
Mark Tuttle.
Yes.
Matt Yelton.
Yes.
12 yeses.
So it was a positive vote, all yeses with 12 yeses. We will do the proper documentation tomorrow and notify the state that we have deemed it complete. And then once we get the court stenographers, we'll forward that on.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you all for approving it, and I'm leaving. Weather out of here.
And quick before the snow comes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can go off the record. Thank you so much. Thanks, Karen.
Bye-bye.
Safe trip.
I knew it was gonna be short, but I didn't know it was gonna be this short.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I can go home and
You can go home. Would you like this written up one that I have with the stuff on it, with the seal and,
the information I bring back is
there you go.
makes them happy. If I make them happy, they make me happy on Friday.
Okay, so,
We're happy.
looking. Who does? Okay, under other.
See my hair.
Substantive.
All right, review of the previous minutes and approval. This was the March 5th meeting. I'd like to thank Lindsay for getting the minutes done so quick so that we could turn them around and get them to you with having this meeting, right behind the last one. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions that need to be done to the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
So we have a motion from Bobby Simpson to accept the minutes. Do I have a second?
Sure.
Second from Mark Tuttle. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Treasurer's report. Bobby.
So treasurer's report was out for everyone. Any questions?
So let me just say, it looks high because we have received in some funds for spring fling. So some of the spring fling funds are in there. I will tell you that we do not have any money from the state yet on our contract. I thought we had everything done. They said we had everything done. And then last week I get, oh, we need you to do this vendor responsibility questionnaire. So I went in and did that and got that done. So now I'm waiting to see what hoop they're gonna make us jump through next for $25,000. So, we have our budget all set, to put in there. We have our invoices set to bill the first, 3 quarters. So as soon as we can, get the go-ahead, we will get that done, so that figure will grow even some more. Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented?
Make the motion. Second.
Motion by James Barr, seconded by Paul Barter. All those in favor? Any opposed? Moving on. Correspondence. I know it's hard to believe, but that's how short the enforcement list is. But we did just meet last month. So, 2024-0061, Perens Piccarelli from New York, 800.3 AP for patient abuse, surrendered effective 3/6/25. 2025-0124, Michael Gonzalez, Ozone Park, New York, 800.3 AP, patient abuse, surrendered effective 3/6. 2024-0011, Azran Abdullah from Binghamton, New York, 800.3 AP, patient abuse, surrendered effective 3/6/25. And the last one is 2023-0134, Mark Jeffries II from Jamaica, New York, 800.16 A7, procured or attempted to procure certification or recertification through deceit or fraud, suspended for 1 year, suspension stay pending no further violations, 3 years probation, and $500 civil penalty. That is it for the enforcements for this time. Other correspondence, Michael Briggs.
Yeah, so I wanted to share with the group that Samaritan has a new neurosurgeon at our facility now, which is very exciting. Her name is Dr. Stephanie Zeich. She started on the 1st of this month. So that we're working out what that means for the hospital in general. She will see outpatients as well. But that also does increase our services and service line in the trauma center world as well. So it's very exciting, and we'll be putting out some information about what that means for EMS providers in the region, and what they can bring, blessing to Samaritan, that they might not otherwise have been able to bring. And then also just the effect of our transfers from Samaritan for neurosurgery consults. I just wanted to bring that up to everybody so they kind of knew. It wasn't really publicly announced, but we'll be putting out some information about that soon for the EMS community.
What was her last name again? I'm sorry.
Zeich, Z-Y-C-K. Yes, she is. She's an assistant clinical professor at Upstate as well. So she's got a pretty good tie to Upstate. So we'll work really well with them in that regard. So it's very exciting for our area to have a neurosurgeon, and something that, not all, we don't have to have it as a level 3 trauma center, but it's just an added benefit. So.
Yeah. Is there any other correspondence? Hearing none, we'll go on to committee reports, air methods and mercy flight. Don't care who goes first, but you both have an opportunity to chat.
I sent an email to both you and Jonathan with LinkNet of New York Q1 numbers, so if you could attach that, and nothing else to report, with the exception of looking forward to spring flight.
As are we.
Yep.
And
Yeah, see everybody this weekend at Spring Fling. Our Spring Education Day is set for May 30th at Bristol Mountain. And then our Fall Education Day, which is a little closer to here, is October 3rd at Vernon Down. So just mark your calendars and watch our social media for announcements on that stuff. One of the things I did want to bring up, we brought up at the REMAC, but also at the REMSCO, as a positive kind of QI and QA follow-up with you guys. Our Central 3 shift came up to meet Carthage Rescue at the town of Watertown for what was originally believed to be a possible like neuro emergency patient. Could be a, rule out stroke, for instance. The flight crew identified the, sepsis and shock physiology, immediately resuscitated with the ambulance crew and intubated the patient. Closed loop for us on my follow-up side with CareLink with Upstate. The patient was admitted with a diagnosis of septic shock with acute pneumonia. So kudos to the crew for identifying the situation and kind of making swift movement towards a helicopter to get that patient to a much larger medical center because she was critically ill.
Any questions for Colleen or Matt on our air methods or mercy flight side? And you both have been staunch supporters of Spring Fling, and we truly appreciate that sponsorship and what you do to help keep the costs down, to make it affordable for the North Country to attend. So thank you to both of you. And not only do you sponsor, but you give us bags, you give us lanyards. And we really appreciate that. So thank you.
To speak.
Yeah. Auditing, again, quarterly, well, monthly, we look at all the stuff. There are no concerns. We have a pretty good system set up to get checks signed and get them out in a timely manner, and everything is processed in a timely manner. I would like to bring up, just so that you're aware, we have reconciled the stuff from the CON for North Star. We've got it all reconciled. We've accounted for all of the charges, and we will be sending them a bill for about $250. They put in 7,000, and we're gonna come in about 250 higher than that. So we will be sending them a bill now that we have everything, and we will send them copies of all the invoices as well, so that they have it for their records on where the funds went to. So we will.
What drove the price up over the 7,
The mailings.
the mailings?
Yeah, the mailing, the required 260 mailings, with the return receipt to all the agencies in the 2 counties was $2,609.50 alone. The stenographer for the hearing was $2,117.86. And then the stenographer for the meeting here was $544. So that added up.
Yeah, and how much did Lee hit us?
Lee only hit us, her hotel was $149 and she charged us $500 to do the hearing.
Not bad at all,
So
not bad at all.
that's, and $68 for her meals. So very, very,
Now, down the road, do you think we should be adjusting the upfront fee?
I don't think so. I think just because this one was so large, we had some copying costs in there as well to do the copying of those. I think we're pretty close with coming in at that amount, so
I know I've had one to go over when I was stealing chair. And we turned that one down too. And they paid the bill. It was, I think, $500 or $1,200. And they paid the bill, but at the time, Dr. Herman said we should be charging more. We can always return it.
yeah.
And if they can't afford the upfront fee of, $7,000 or $8,000 or whatever, then they should be applying.
I think, that's why we wanted to get it reconciled. I went through all of my records and all of my invoices, and we actually found one that we had missed, North Country Now, for the legal ad, so that got paid last week. And that's why I'm very confident that everything is where it needs to be, and we'll provide them a detailed report with copies of all the invoices and that outstanding invoice to get that taken care of. On the CON, we are gonna have to have another meeting. We have another CON that has been submitted for transfer of ownership of Alex Bay Fire Department to an ambulance. James and Bob have agreed to help me review it. These seem like nothing after doing 800 and some pages when they're only 20 or 30, we're like, hey, this is a piece of cake, you know? So, my hope would be that maybe in a couple weeks that we can, schedule a meeting again, and we just got it. We've got to deem it complete, and then obviously in order to have a meeting, we have to make sure that we have a court reporter available again. So we're kind of scheduling around when we might be able to get somebody in here to do that. So look for, an email. If you could look at your calendars immediately when you get it, and if that's not a good date for you, let me know so that we can try and change it, so that we can make sure we have the quorum to vote on that. That will be all we'll be doing. It'll be just a special meeting to vote on that type deal. That will hopefully be, within the next couple weeks. So we, like I said, we just got it. It's been submitted to the other folks to take a look at with me, and we'll, again, work with the court recorder to see when we can. The paperwork was done by a lawyer. It's done by Brad Pinsky, so I'm pretty confident that it's probably got everything that it should have with it. So we'll check all that. And they submitted the check. They've done all the stuff that they needed to do.
Going from the fire department.
Yeah.
Going from a village,
Oh, okay.
fire district.
Makes sense.
It's going to a fire district.
Yes, the Alex Bay's a fire district now. So they're,
In the village.
Well, they're not separating as an independent. They're,
no, they're just, the fire department is now a fire district, not a municipal entity. So they've separated out from the municipal entity.
And the village owns the operating company, so they're just.
Well, they own own the old fire department name. So that's
So they're
what
just.
it's at.
carrying it over,
Yeah.
But it's more technicality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any others, that are coming our way, but we will share if we get it. Somebody asked about the status of the, North Star. I have not received any notification that they have filed an appeal. Karen indicated that I would receive that notification as well, and I had not, and we gotta be close to the 30 days, not over it. When was our vote? So we're over it, so I'm gonna make a call down to see if they filed that or not, and if it just hasn't made it to us yet type deal. Executive committee, we've held a couple, meetings just talking about spring fling and making sure we're set with that. We'll go over the numbers here when we get down to that, but that's basically what we have concentrated on, was making sure that we're all set for up there. Fort Drum, Jeff Johnson,
Nothing significant to report.
nothing to report. Still there?
Still there.
Generation Z, we've had another meeting. Anticipate having a, proposed membership application that could be generic, that could be used by all the services in the 3-county region. For anybody that might want to join an ambulance service, and it would be an online app, not filling out the paperwork, in hopes of trying to recruit some young ones. They're working on a poster now that could be distributed, trying to attract the younger kids to join us, so. Chris, legislation.
So the budget is late, if you didn't know that already. From talking to other folks around the state legislative committee, it kind of sounds like everything in the governor's budget that Part R, we're not gonna get the 30% increase. I know you all were counting on that. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot else really going on in the state. The assembly, of course, like normal, strip everything out. They're gonna handle everything later. The federal level, we just came back from Washington DC. I get the sense, I don't know, Bobby, if you got the same, we kind of get the sense that Freedom Place is gonna go. I think at the federal level, I think that's gonna be a good thing. MIH is probably 50-50. The 3%, 2% Medicaid extenders got kicked down the road till September, and that's probably gonna get revoted in September. I don't see that going away. Nobody really indicated that. Didn't really see a lot of great support on a lot of other things that we talked to them about. The county EMS workforce, trying to make it easier for military to be able to transition to civilian EMS. That didn't really seem to have a lot of traction. Nobody was really interested in that. The Siren Act, they're asking for $33 million to help support rural EMS. That's probably gonna get funded. It was last time they actually gave more than what we had requested.
That's
kind of
good,
the-
that's good for St. Lawrence County, and that's good for Lewis County, but Jefferson is not considered rural. So we're not eligible for
There were
the,
92, 93 applications for the last round, and they awarded 62. And it was up to 200,000. So a lot of this went to equipment, these very small agencies who don't have a big budget need a new stretcher, they need an ambulance, they need a heart monitor. And just their call volume, they just can't support that. So that's really what that's for. So these grants. Did I miss anything huge? We try to keep it short.
met with Scott Gray.
Oh, thank you. Yep. Scott Gray last Friday. Gave him our whole packet agenda, all the state stuff. We have a meeting on Monday, the 21st at 11:30. It's virtual with Mr. Barclay. I'll tell you, last year we met with him and he cut us off after about 5 minutes, essentially said there's nothing I could do and hung up. So I'm not expecting a whole lot from him. We're gonna try again. We did send out to folks in central New York. We sent it to Onion trying to get some more people that wanted to join us for that. It's 11:30, but it's all Zoom virtual. And we did meet with, I got a meeting scheduled. I'm playing back and forth with Ken Blankenbush. He sits on the Ways and Means Committee, so he's a good ally. Unfortunately, he's Republican, but he does seem to get some of the stuff we need and the money behind it. So
We met
Look
with
for
Claudia
that.
Tenney's
yeah,
representative.
Claudia Penny's representative here a couple weeks ago as well, talked about a lot of federal issues. That was about an hour and a half. We actually got him. He had no other meetings scheduled, so we were able to bend his ear quite a bit. We gave him lots of information. There's tons of data on treating place and MIH. In fact, today I got email from the state of Louisiana. They've wrapped their arms around MIH and they did some measuring. They have 96% of their Medicaid patients, they do not transport. And this is a statewide initiative, and Texas has some phenomenal numbers. 92% of their target group, they do not transport. So I think, again, we went down to DC. They're kind of looking at MIH tree in place for ways to help with hospital overcrowding and save that money that really doesn't need to be spent. So we are very close. South Jeff is real close to our pilot being launched with Northwell Health. We're going to be able to do hopefully treat in place with good ER physician medical oversight down there. We're waiting for the contract to get signed. The lawyers allegedly screwed that up. But anyway, as soon as we get that done, I think there's some other agencies in the county want to take advantage of that, where we will be able to go to the home, and if the patient doesn't need to go to the hospital, we'll bring the ER physician to them. And the physician will do what they do. We'll be there for the assessment, and we can leave the patient at home with good follow-up. The nice benefit is if that Medicaid treating place goes through, we'll be able to bill for the ambulance time, and the hospital will, the physician will also get paid. So hopefully that'll be a success as well. So we'll kind of watch that.
We made the flyer for the national NAEMT with
Oh,
what we
yeah.
left with all the
One
elected.
of our MIH patients, I think you first, we had that diabetic that constantly kept calling the ambulance. And we put him on our MIH program, and after 2 or 3 visits, he admitted to our MIH provider that he couldn't read, that he was guessing at taking his meds. So after several visits of educating and training him how to do his medication himself, he's now off our program. And it's been well over a year, and he has not called 911 or gone to the hospital since. So there were a lot of really good stories from around the state, telling those good stories about good patient care and saving lots and lots of money. CDC has a report that they issued about hypertensive crises, and if we could treat those folks at home, manage them at home, it would save over $2 billion. And that was just one single thing. So again, down in Washington DC, I think that's kind of gaining some traction of the number of states that are doing that. I think there's some people really paying attention to the cost savings. I'm kind of hoping New York State's gonna extend our MIH pilot at least another couple of years.
Any questions on legislation?
Come to some of these meetings and join us, please. They're tired of seeing Debbie and I and Brian.
Membership, we will have a display set up at Spring Fling. We'll have a PowerPoint going, and we're gonna have some packets there to try to fill. I believe we have 2 positions in St. Lawrence County.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And so we're gonna try to recruit some folks at Spring Fling to fill those positions. Mountain Lakes. I can see why they're not effective, because trying to get things done with them has really been a struggle. We've tried to do some things. We've held 3 meetings, and it's in their lap on what needs to happen next. And I'm afraid that the state at some point is gonna say, you lost your SEMSCO and CMAC representation, and it's now part of North Country, and you've lost that seat. That's what I'm afraid is coming next. They cannot get out of the hole that they're in. They can't get out of their own way, much less the hole that they're in. So, more to come. I have had numerous conversations with Brad Pinsky. He has found some ways that he thinks this would work. He was talking with the state, but we can't get the Mountain Lakes folks to do what they need to do. So, more to come on that.
Can I make a comment?
Mhm.
I've been on the council a long time, and Mountain Lakes has been a problem for as long as I can remember. And, all I can say is move very carefully and don't let us get in a position that they'll drag us down. But we got a pretty good council.
We do, and those people up there deserve representation, and they deserve some support, and hopefully.
They do, but
hopefully we
don't
can-
let us get in a position that they destroy us like they're doing to themselves right now.
Nominating, neither Doug or Dottie, had anybody, so we will review that under new business when we do the elections. Performance measurements, Chris.
We had a meeting a couple weeks ago on our performance measures and kind of left it. I think we're gonna look to some KPIs, try to develop some things that we can all measure and kind of see how we're doing. It's kind of funny, in my inbox, I think it was today, yesterday, whatever, when I went through, there is a joint position statement on EMS performance measures beyond response time, and the statement has been endorsed by, you name it, Academy of International, MIH, Ambulance Association, College of Emergency Physicians. It goes on, there's a whole page of all these different organizations who have endorsed this. And I think this is part of what we were looking at. Is our healthcare provided, are we effective? Are we safe? How do patients and EMS clinicians feel about the service being provided? Is it equitable? And is it efficient? So on the back, they've got some good, KPIs for us to look at. Some of them we talked about. I know, we talked about like response time. Does it really make a difference if you're in 30 seconds, you're getting out of the barn, but you have flat tires and you don't have the equipment and things like that. And their response time for high acuity clinical responses measured from the time the call is placed to a communication center to the time of patient contact. So I know we've talked about that. Is there a better way to measure? So we'll send this out. I did stick it in that shared drive today quick, and we'll send this whole document out to those folks on the committee. But I think this is good stuff, and I think it answers some things that we've been kind of looking for. What can we measure and how to measure them? So.
The only thing you want to add on that?
Nope.
Here, Bob.
Your committee did meet. We made our selections for the awards that will be presented at Spring Fling. I'll read them off. Tanya Yanborski, bless you. I can't pronounce it.
LaFlex.
Better. Okay. ALS provider, is going to be receiving that. BLS provider is going to be Jen Marchione. Nurse of Excellence is going to be Dawn Rennie, and agency is going to be none other than Constableville. Congratulations, Matt. And the educator is going to be Deb Singleton. And we still had something hanging out there for Dick McDougal. I haven't heard anything further on that.
I just got the write-up for it today.
Actually, the educator is Bob Van Conant. I'm the Rich Beebe Award.
Oh,
So usually we try to surprise whoever gets the Rich Beebe Award, but, Bob and Mark and Amanda and I hijacked the call from Debbie, and, when she said, who should we give it to? Mark greenlit me to go, and I said, well, you, and we're not gonna argue with you about it, that's how it is, and, let's talk about something else, before she could say no or argue with me. And it's the first time that I think she hasn't really given me pushback other than, you're an asshole.
Thank you very much for that. So we did ask, Matt to write up that call from that his crew hooked up with Carthage so that we could have your peer committee recognize them for a job well done. And please remember, there's a lot of good going on out there and we're not recognizing it enough. We're quick to bring up when somebody does something wrong, but we need to start that recognition, and we have a program in place. So please, the form is right on the Excellence in EMS is right on the website. Use that and get something out there so we can recognize some folks. Program agency, Jonathan.
Yep, if I can get this to decide to go into PowerPoint. Oh, it's on the other. All right,
this is why we can't have nice
this
things.
is why we can't. Bear with me. We'll do the REMAC real quick and then bounce back to the program agency. I have to change the screen.
Okay.
So the REMAC approved, updates to the quality improvement process or, policy. So previously, the state has kind of taken a hard stance on provider credentialing and decredentialing, and that's because most regions' policies do not incorporate an appeals process. So if an agency medical director or the system medical director comes down on you for doing something that's pretty egregious in patient care, there's no way for you as a provider to be able to appeal that or any body to appeal that to. So the update to the quality improvement policy adds in a regional CQI committee that serves as the appeal body for any decisions that the agency medical director, region medical director, or program agency may take towards a provider's patient care issues. But also adds in a component of when a provider operates under multiple agencies, because who doesn't? Agency medical directors will collaborate and share relevant information related to a patient care concern to ensure consistency and a unified approach to the remediation and corrective actions for that provider. Also in here, it just adds the decisions of the recommendations and spells out the appeals process, and then actually goes into the appeals process. So this was approved by the REMAC to move forward with. Along with that comes an agreement for agency medical directors for credentialing and decredentialing of EMS providers, and allows us as the program agency and the region respectively to be able to credential and effectively decredential providers at agencies for issues. This is to help supplement what agency medical directors are already doing or should be doing for their agencies. They should be having that hands-on role, but this also allows us to assist them in that ability to make sure that they have quality people working for their agencies. So the REMAC did approve this as well, and it's a doctor-to-doctor agreement. And then the last thing that they approved is an update to the refusal of medical care policy. So if anybody's seen the MELREMS refusal policy, this kind of dovetails pretty nicely with that. and the big hangup has been that there really is no clinical definition of what a patient is. And that is where a lot of, these refusals are getting hung up, is there's no regional definition of what a or what a patient is. There's also no state definition of what a patient is. So this spells out what a patient is. The form is not attached to the policy statement. We are keeping the same refusal form that we already use. And we have it translated into Spanish, and Bob's, recommendation too, with our, influx of the, French Canadians, at the northern part of our area, we're gonna have it translated into, French as well. And now with all the fancy apps and everything, you can do it on your phone. It's easy. So that's that.
The protocols,
Oh, the protocol updates, were approved. Go see it again, Neil, sorry.
so the protocols that were going to affect July 1st need the region to approve them. Or you can do your own, and they did approve staying with the collaborative protocols, so.
Thanks.
Jonathan is working on a list of what those changes are so that we can get them out so that people know what they are.
And we're gonna, do a educational overview and put it on the learning management system for providers to do as well. And Debbie's gonna update the Atrovent training that she did last year for, AEMTs, because now Atrovent's at the BLS level. And there's already BLS iGel training that's created, so why reinvent the wheel? We'll just go to the states. Program agency report. So the iGel BLS demo project will wrap up on June 30th. And the new protocols will be rolled out July 1st. It'll be up to the REMAC if they want to make these agencies reapply to it or just give them the go-ahead to continue doing it. And then any new agencies will have to apply through the adjunct process. But it also does include BLSFRs as long as they have the appropriate equipment. We didn't receive any adjunct applications because it's only been a month. The CQI initiative. So in January, we reviewed 21 agencies, 10 in the Mountain Lakes, 10 North Country, 11 Mountain Lakes. 100 charts reviewed, 50-50 for both region. We did identify one agency that had no charts uploaded to the system. And then 11 charts were sent to the agency medical director for further review. That's split between the two regions, mostly on the other side. In February, 22 agencies, 10 North Country, 12 Mountain Lakes, 97 charts reviewed, 46 North Country, 51 Mountain Lakes. And again, one agency was selected with no charts being uploaded. Come to find out that ambulance is based out of Vermont. So their PCR is generated in New York, but it goes back to Vermont and then it has to navigate its way back to New York. And it doesn't. So the state is working on trying to figure out how to fix that because that's way above Zach and my pay grade.
Wait a minute. You're saying there's a Vermont ambulance that's coming across the state border?
Yeah.
To provide,
No, they own an agency in New York State.
they own an agency in New York State, but they're based in Vermont?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Makes tons of sense.
Up in the Rouse's Point area or?
Nope, Lamoille, so they're in Essex County, or in, Washington County. Or Warren, one of the two, they all were.
One of the W.
Warren, thanks. They're by Ticonderoga. So March, 23 agencies, 7 in the North Country, 16 Mountain Lakes, 103 charts reviewed, 30 North Country, 73 Mountain Lakes. And 2 agencies selected with no charts uploaded. They both are Vermont agencies that have own agencies in New York State. Again, the big thing that we're seeing is the lack of a complete assessment or the focused assessment on the specific body system. Overall, we're seeing that not getting 2 sets of vitals, so how are they not getting their charts to lock right? History of present illness is missing. Some of them are some protocol issues, and those are the ones that usually go right to the medical director. So upcoming training, so Spring Fling is this week, the 10th, 11th, and 12th. and we have 114 registered. I was able to keep Debbie off the edge, and we got that last 40 people in the last week.
I was nervous.
Where does
Numbers
that
were
compare
not
to
good.
last year?
Probably down about 10, honestly.
Down about 10?
I think, I'll say it, I don't give a shit. I think there are multiple factors that are contributing to this. I don't think it helps that now it is a 4-year certification. So that gives people that much more time to get their education, so they're not gonna be driving. I think you see that overall, there is a downfall in attendance at conferences in general. I mean, that's why NYSFERA isn't doing public anymore, is because don't get the people for it. And I don't think it helps at all that there is a conference immediately on our heels in Lake Placid. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Debbie, do you have anything to chime in?
Nope.
Okay. So out of our office, we have the Fall EMS Education Day, which will be November 1st at North Country Community College. We had a great time and turnout for that last year, so we'll be reaching out to some of our local folks to speak at that again next year, or this coming year. And then our big training that we do with Fort Drum every year, our Fort Drum EMS Day will be Saturday, May 17th on post. It's a really, really great training opportunity for anybody who hasn't been able to attend. It's a little bit of a headache getting everybody on the post for it, and we've learned some things, like if our agencies that are on the reservation try to come, they have to be accompanied by a sponsor all day, who is a DoD person, because they are classified as a foreign national. So that was a fun day, but we'll have a critical airways station, some multi-system traumas utilizing their obstacle course, incident command and triage, and an active shooter mass casualty incident. If anybody would like to register to come to that day, the QR code is there. You can contact our office. I've also sent this directly to Director Greenberg, this deputy director, and Ed Major, who is our regional, whatever his title is now, they've all changed. Inviting them to not just come to the day, but to actually participate in the day.
Ryan, participate.
And go through the training. I'm sure Debbie will speak to this a little bit more, but program agencies don't have a contract right now. And the state has made some pretty offhanded comments about the work that we do as program agencies doesn't matter to them really. But I think training opportunities like this and the things that we do through our office, and having them come to something like this would show the value that the program agencies have to the region and to their providers and to the education system, in general for the state.
Question for you. For May,
Orange,
I know
that's
you,
the answer.
I know you covered this partially, but, getting on to Fort Drum. Now, for me, I could get on, I have the pass, but for the person that doesn't have the pass, how do they get on?
They,
Is there
with
a
the,
certain gate that they gotta come through?
yes, they have to come through the main gate, they have to go to the visitor center and all of that, but when they register, they give us all of their information so we can get them pre-registered with Post.
And it's just a day pass type thing?
Yeah.
And if you're pre-registered, you're at the gate for about 35 seconds.
Yeah,
Generally.
Oh, yeah, one,
unless they choose to search,
Right.
that's just.
don't get you down to the little building.
That's actually happened.
I have to come through gasoline now, that's beside the point.
So our PEC emergency care coordinator is Amanda. None of this has changed since last month. There hasn't been a state EMS meeting. The next meetings are at the Gideon Putnam Hotel in Saratoga. I'm bringing my golf clubs.
February or.
No, that's, oh yeah, I didn't update that, sorry.
Next.
Well, spring fling is this week. You're lucky I'm talking in coherent sentences right now. Miscellaneous correspondence are there. Anybody have any questions for the program agency?
When are the next state council meetings?
May 6th and 7th.
May 6th and 7th at the Gideon Putnam Hotel in Saratoga.
Last slide, didn't say that, sorry.
Jackass.
With a golf course.
Any questions for the program agency or REMAC? Neil, safety.
One event, adult trauma fatality. There was some on-scene diffusing, a briefing 24 hours later, and some follow-on care, and we elicited some assistance from Priority Wellness as well. Did involve, the individual being a member of the fire department, so there was a little downrange stuff that we don't deal with in CISM, but Priority Wellness is well suited to deal with. It's a good partnership. Mike and I talk a lot.
Having spoken to a number of the people who were involved, they had nothing but fantastic things to say of the quality and just how good it was for being a really shitty situation. So a testament to you and your, both of you and your team. So thank you. They're my people up there, so.
We got that money out to, that was taken
Yes.
care of, right?
Yeah, that was taken care of. The record.
Didn't affect me.
Well, I don't want to go to hell.
You're already sorry.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the safety? SEMSCO CMAC,
We haven't had a meeting.
when's the next meeting, Mark?
Where is it?
Oh, where's that at?
In Saratoga Springs.
May 5th through the 5th.
And yes, we're going golfing, for meeting at the Buck Racket early to play golf. Before the program is meeting. There's a lot of different initiatives. Most of the regulatory packages are starting to make their way into a more set format. Some of them are in, public comment. There's something like 7 regulatory packages right now that are in the final processes of moving through. So, pay attention for regulatory changes. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. It's like politics, you can't win everything. And other than that, other than reporting you.
Paul, training and education.
Very brief. We'll have the instructor update this weekend at Sprinkling on Friday. And our surgical airway mannequin should be up. We're burning the skin tomorrow. Then check it out, but it's a work in progress, but we anticipate having the mannequin there for display purposes. So other than getting harassed by downtown for some of the orders that Chris puts in, want to know why we want baking sheets and what we're doing with a cutting board and.
So we have, we will be submitting, we had approved at our last meeting to, spend up to $1,000 to help with this initiative. So, we bought a small chest freezer that has the pigskin. So now they're out of my freezer at home. Thank you. So we've got that.
Meat shop there.
And you bought some more.
So we're filling it. We went through everything we bought initially to build these things.
Can't tell you, those
Bought some more,
pigskins are very hairy.
was the pig.
The pig, yeah,
We'll have different.
very hairy.
So you plan on, you're having a booth at Spring Fling and you anticipate having one there for people to at least look at it and see
Yeah, for the,
what's involved in it, so.
and that's about it.
Our CLI course.
Well, that's county report
Okay.
or training, it doesn't matter wherever you wanna.
All right.
Our CLI course.
I tried.
Our CLI course is been submitted, to Albany. In essence, it's on the learning management system. I'm thinking we're still waiting to get their final stamp. But in essence, what'll happen is a student, a prospective student, will send in their application, their name. And then we will give them access to the learning management system. They will do the 9 chapters within the CLI curriculum at their own leisure, get day, evening, nights, whenever. Upon completion of that, They will have, well, we're gonna do the skills testing, prior to, them starting the learning management. If they are adequate, that's fine, we'll use that. After the learning management is completed, if they have to do the skills again, we'll repeat it afterwards. Once they have completed all of that, they will be submitted to, Albany. They're giving us, kind of a one course for this year. I think they were gonna do it in 6-month increments moving forward, but for this year, they're going through the December 31st. So this way, students who go through the LMS, get all okay, we can get them, the approval to start their internship, even this fall if they get it. Our goal is to try to get them to do the LMS, to start this process and get it done in 60 days. We don't want them to take 6.5 months to go through that process. It's just gonna be too much of a hassle, but.
And the state has decided it can only be people from the 3 counties that are part of the North Country REMSCO. When we were working with Mike Magosi, he wanted to open it up to anybody in the state. They would have to come up here and test, but under the new regiment, it can only be our 3 counties. So if they live outside, they're gonna have to wait. They want us to capture data. They want us to do some surveys for the people that do this and all that. And then if it's all favorable, then they'll look at opening it up to the rest of the state.
So if you know people that should be helping with classes or sponsors, helping people that think that they would be good CLIs, please send them our way. We have to do a little meet and greet with them. We're gonna do a little orientation so they really know what they're getting into, but we are desperate for help. Any class, health paramedic class, our EMT classes, Lewis County classes, Matt, you know, you struggle getting people. I know St. Lawrence County is struggling. We're feeding all these students to these agencies, so you gotta kick some people back to us and help teach that next generation. So anybody that can help.
We're also hoping all those, every course has the 1 or 2 or 3 people that are always helping. And this is a golden opportunity to be able to get them their certification and they can boost their, the pay that we give them.
So we have a brochure, we have a flyer.
Yep.
That we're gonna have with a QR code on it that we're gonna have at Spring Fling, so we can try to recruit some people to.
I have a couple that were talking about it, but the asynchronous side of that makes it a little more convenient. I'll put it that way. 'Cause they're 2 very busy people. They wanted to, and to be a CLI really would help me, you know?
Exactly. Our class schedule sometimes just don't, you know,
Right.
we've gone from every weekend, we've done several nights, but there's always that one that, geez, I can make 3 of the Tuesdays, but I can't make that 3rd Thursday or whatever. And so this is hopefully an opportunity to let people do it on their own. So we'll see what happens.
How about into the county report?
Okay, well, half of it's done already.
Well, I sure you did that.
No. So compared to March 5th, the only changes is the CFR course in Lewis County. They had their practical this last weekend with a 100% pass. So that was great. And that was it. That's it.
The academy funds?
That was mentioned last month.
Oh, thanks for.
Yeah. Yeah, all of our classes are still going on. The only one that's done is, I'll have more in June. When's that meeting, Jen?
Second.
June 2nd.
Mark, St. Lawrence County, can you,
Doug?
somebody?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Currently, we have an EMT program going on. I think they're at 29 students still holding strong with that. This will be ending next couple of weeks. And we have our second paramedic cohort, which is gearing up to end the 3rd week of May. And we started with 9 students in that. We still have 8.
Okay.
And for stragglers from the first cohort, but they'll be finishing up in May as
How
well.
many cohorts is it? The second?
Two.
Yeah.
Anything else for St. Lawrence? Louis?
Well, the Lewis County EMS Council had their education day, March 29th at the Three Willows. We had 38 attendees. Got very good feedback from it because it was local people teaching local people. It was very good, from the feedback we got. We are still, SNRT has been canceled. However, we're still, gearing up for it. The new promoter is planning to have something as business as usual. He does Stuck in the Muck events and various other things at his place. He's already reaching out to various bars and establishments, and it looks like it's going to be a busy weekend, so we're gonna be planning for it as usual, but it's gonna be a you call, we haul, rather than staging ambulances here, there, and elsewhere. So there will be some liability in that, and depending on how things expand from there, adjust it accordingly.
Do you, see trying to do yearly your, EMS day for your county? Do you see that maybe becoming a yearly event?
I would love to see it become a yearly event, however, it's the council has to take a little more onus in it. Jen in the office basically built that from the ground up and then put it out there. Recognizing that she's a bit of a control freak. If we can find other people to step up and do that, then we probably will have it, be an annual thing. We started with hopes of 50, we got 38, and that's not too bad. So, but it's just it's one day, one and done, nothing extravagant. And, it was fairly well attended from what we saw.
All very, very local people.
Yes, very.
Nice. We do not have anybody, as you can see here from the state. For those of you that know Vinny, he is on, his wife just had a baby a couple weeks ago and he's on maternity leave. And I believe everything's running through Ed Majors out of his office down in Buffalo, for the region. So, things were kind of going slow getting through there before. Now they're even gonna be even slower trying to get, stuff that does have to go to that level taken care of. Old
But if
business,
anybody's been on a state call recently, you'll know that they're basically an advertisement for a job in every state.
Or if you're in any email distribution group lately, it's been also a tag for selfish kind of
Facebook too.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right. So the we already talked about our, contract and hopefully that'll be taken care of. The recruitment retention grant is tied to the, contract for the program agency, so we have no update on that. The scholarship grant, we believe that might be in jeopardy now, because some questions have come up about if you give somebody that money, are they gonna be eligible to get other funding to help pay for the paramedic program? And so there's a lot that's getting looked into at the state level, so.
If they go to a SUNY school, more specifically, and they're getting these regional grants, it screws their financial aid. And the state, I don't think realized that when they had this grand idea, because we have grand ideas and then we don't do research and find out that it's not at all.
So that may be in jeopardy of happening, so more to come when we find out. Jonathan mentioned spring fling, we have our counts. So Friday, we're at, about 99. And Saturday, it's higher, it's the one, well, I have 85 down here, but it's more than that from those numbers. So we are, good to go. We do have dates for next year. We try to always have a save the date thing up there. So we did get the, calendar for the school year next year to see when they're on break. So we always work around that. So next year's dates, and this has been confirmed as being, eligible at, Edgewood for us to have it there, would be April 16th, 17th, and 18th. So we will have save the dates as spring fling this weekend for folks to have that so that they know when that is. old business or open from the floor. You know, we've talked about the fact that the program agency does not have a contract, with the state. We're going on 9 months now. And, again, we're very fortunate that FDRHPO is continuing to let these folks work and covering the expenses associated with that. There's been a grassroots effort, from the New York City group to file
Article 78.
Article 78 against the state, for not having the contracts, because it is called out in law that they have to have the program agencies. And, they were looking for support from that. So as a region, I felt it was important that we support that, and we've done that. And the state has gotten kind of wind of this, and now they're sending out updates. Oh, the contract is here and it's set to go here, and oh, we've got this done and that done. And they've actually reached out and saying, we're gonna have to start some of this other paperwork that we'll need, so that as soon as the ink is on the paper, you can start submitting stuff in. So, I think that they're gonna maybe hold off a week or so, New York City, on this to see what happens.
We have a call with, the Bureau tomorrow, all the program agencies, so we should know a little bit more, of where everything sits. But even if we were to get our award letters tomorrow, we're still 80 to 90 days before we can even enter into the contract process with all of the state's requirements, because they'll let us pre-prep things, but they won't let us pre-submit things, because there's no contract number to tie it to yet. So it's a giant waiting.
And then everybody's gonna be in the system trying to do it all at once, and it's gonna slow the system.
They asked us to be patient with them as they go through it, and I laughed in their face and said, that's really rich, because we're 9 months without a contract and about 200,000 in the hole right now, that you owe us. So, we'll be patient, but also get your ass moving.
So we'll be keeping an eye on that. I do sit on the FDRHPO Board of Directors, and we do have a meeting, Wednesday, so I'm sure we'll be discussing it. But there's no talk on the FDRHPO side of not supporting and keeping it working. The Buffalo Program Agency has shut down. That's a pretty big area.
Yeah.
So,
Their medical director was told that it didn't matter if they continued to do the work or not that's in the contract. It would just cause a little bit more work for the state. And so their medical director said, all right, then we're done. And they closed effectively March 30th.
is there any other old business before we move on to new business? So new business, election of a chair and a secretary. I have agreed to stay on as chair for another term. And Matt Yelton has agreed to take the secretary. So,
How much are they?
I need you to
Gunpoint.
run the else that wants the chair.
Are there any other nominations from the floor for the chair? Any nominations from the floor for the chair? We jumped to once. Any nominations from the floor for the chair?
You're required to have a motion that we close the nominations and cast one ballot.
That's what he's gonna do now.
So I need a motion to close the nomination and have the secretary who doesn't exist yet, and ask the ballot
I'll make that motion.
for, the treasurer, the chair. Bobby, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same. Congratulations.
Somebody should have pulled just for the sake of polling.
So for secretary,
Congratulations.
we have a nomination of Matt Yelton. And it's funny, because when I called him, he says, you made the mistake of telling me in the message what you wanted, so he didn't call me back for a day. And I was like, oh, I guess I shouldn't have done that. I'll know better next time. Are there any other nominations from the floor for the position of secretary? Any other nominations from the floor for the position of secretary? Any other nominations from the floor for the position of secretary?
I make the motion that we close the nominations and that the secretary
Treasurer.
the treasurer casts one ballot for the nominee.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Absolutely. Say that with a little more conviction, would you?
They've done that gig once upon a time, secretary.
So thank you, Mayor. Other new business, Jonathan had reviewed that the Fort Drum EMS Day is May 17th. In the past, we have covered the cost of the food for the participants that go that day. And I would like to think that we would continue to do that and support our folks for attending that.
Do we have the money?
We have the money. Yeah.
How
Well,
much?
we get, is there a limit on the dollar?
Well, I guess it's really gonna depend on the number of people that,
They capped the number of people that go.
30.
also it's capped at 30. So it's capped at 30. Last year we did, Subway. And I don't think we spent, and then we did didn't we do some drinks and.
It was all part of the package, you know, something like it's out really, you know.
So,
They figure a person, $15, $20 a person?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it was like $4 or $5.
I'll make a motion that we cover the, lunch for the EMS day at Fort Drum, not to exceed $500.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Do we have a motion and a second to cover the cost of the food for the Fort Drum EMS Day not to exceed $500 as it is capped at 30 people? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Anybody opposed?
Thank you.
Any other new business from the floor? I thought I had the sign up list. If you're able to come to Spring Fling and help us, you know, we have to scan people when they enter the conferences. We have to have people at the registration table. I'm happy to say that Karen Blackburn is gonna come and help us. She likes doing the registration and all that, so she'll be there to help us with that. We do have something special planned for everybody this year. We bought T-shirts for everybody in attendance. So we got sizes and, you got a pretty good, I think you were at like all but maybe 15 or 20
Yeah.
people you didn't hear from. So we did, do some T-shirts for folks. We ordered 128 of them. So we did get that for the participants and gonna look to do something like that, something maybe
What are the
nicer
hours?
for next year for the 25.
What are the hours that you need people?
Well, we need to register people Thursday night. We need to scan people going into the Pulsar. We need to scan people going into the Trivial Pursuit. And then Friday, the registration, and then scanning between all the
What is the
conferences.
time?
7:30 on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, 7:30 in the morning.
7:30 in the morning.
And then it goes through till, I think, the last session ends at
5-ish.
4:35-ish on both days.
So, if you can, let me know. We'd love to have some help.
With scanner.
Yeah, you'll be scanning. Larry's usually,
Larry's not available.
oh, it's not here.
Sure, I got a weekend full of classes, but not on EMS.
Bobby's there, a bunch of people are there. So we'll,
Somebody else can scan their Coke can.
Is there any other new business?
Not really new business, kind of just for the whatever, Tiers sponsored I forget what the initials mean, TAC, TACC. It's basically a self-care, it's kind of directed toward law enforcement, but it's good stuff to know, and actually, when you walk out of there with a little kit that's got some dressings in it, and a tourniquet, and a few other things as well. So, it's the border patrol puts it on, get hold of Tim Farrell, he can put you online with somebody who can do it. That's something I think you'd be interested in, and we had about 8 people in the class, and it was well worth the time.
Nice. Any other new business? So again, please watch for an email. Soon as we deem that, transfer of operating authority complete, we will have to have a meeting. I think we can do it Zoom, can't we? No, it has to be in person, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It's secretary.
we have multiple sites,
Of
so.
course.
Right, so we can have one up in St. Lawrence County, but you've gotta be at that site, you gotta be at that site, and we've gotta have it on in order to, record everything, so, we'll try to set that up and do that. Hearing, nothing else, our next scheduled meeting would be June 2nd, after the state council meeting.
When's that?
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
See where we start.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Drive